some of you guys don't know, I actually have some experience in insurance. I worked for Liberty Mutual in Hartford. And actually, I only lasted a year. To be honest, though, it was more like 11 months. Like that's. I started thinking about that when my dad said he retired, and he did it for 38 years, and I couldn't even do it 1 year. And, I started thinking, why did he do it? How did he do it? How did he make it? I have no idea because I only got 12 months. I'm a teacher. I told you I get to retire every summer. My dad said I wait 38 years to do it. And when my summer's off, I get to travel. I get to read books. I read a book last summer. It's called Tuesdays with Morrie. And there's one line that I remember. Love is the only rational act. I started thinking about that. And what my dad has done for the last 38 years, he did everything they did, he did it for something in some way other than himself. He did it for my mom. He still was in love with my mom after all these years. And I know why you're laughing. You know what? That's not a question. I don't want to know. He did it for my brothers, my sister, myself. And I think it would be safe to say he did it for his friends at work. I think he was someone that you can count on, and someone that you can trust, and I think it's a pretty safe bet that he did that. He sent us to Catholic school. I thought that was important. He said the values that we got growing up were very important to him, and he couldn't afford to send us to school, but he did anyway. He helped me with my college tuition. He helped my brother go through college. And even more so with myself, when I went through cancer, my dad had to pay thousands of dollars for medical bills, and he would have done anything he could to save my life. I've never seen my dad really cry, but I've been told when I was going through that sickness that when he would talk about me, he would start crying. I remember one time he took me to Cleveland, believe it or not. I was going to Cleveland. He took a day off work and we went to Cleveland and the White Sox weren't even playing. But I was sick at the time, but my dad made sure that he could spend some small moments with his son. Even though we didn't know how much longer I had or what the deal was, but we went to see the Mariners. Give me more of my favorite pitcher was playing, and you got tickets and we saw him play. But I have survived, and it's been almost 10 years, and I owe my dad and my mom my life. I have to live a good life for them. I don't think I've ever heard my dad say anything bad about anyone ever. But there really isn't anyone that my dad wouldn't have helped. He's lived his life true to his beliefs, which is easy to say but hard to do. He's been the role model for me in my life, and I know I wouldn't have gotten anywhere without him. Yeah, I love you, and as a boy and even today, you're all I wanted to be.
Steve, I prepared a 30-minute speech.
No, that means 45.
Yeah. Steve and I go way back. We were both hired by George Williams, and we started on the south side of Chicago on Western Avenue, and it was in the 70s. My God, Steve, we're almost going on 40 years. Yeah. Wow. But anyway. It was a very interesting time starting with the Hartford, especially under George, and the fact that training was more hands-on, you were just thrown out into the wolves. And being a claim representative or an insurance adjuster in that time, that was the south side of Chicago. I think the only thing that saved us was the fact that we were pretty ignorant. Because we didn't know any better.
Naive.
Yeah, I mean, you'd go out there, and you'd handle some of these claims, and I think afterwards, you get home, I'm sure Steve's built the same way, you go home and you say, boy, that was a pretty dangerous situation. Because you're in some of these places, it's not the safest place. I remember being escorted to your car. Did you ever have that? Had some really nice claimants that escorted you to your car because it's a dangerous area.
You let you make the most point.
Steve, he was definitely inherited right away. I think George put him out on was the United Airlines, right? The crash at Midway. That was.
No, I wasn't on that.
I thought you were. No. You didn't have to go out there on that same night.
No, I was.
Very interesting. But I think when I think of Steve, I think of a person with integrity and compassion. And I think Ryan pointed all that out. The fact that Steve always thought about other people. And I think that's really important. And I was successful with Hartford in management, but I think I was only successful because I had people like Steve and Lou under me. Otherwise, I don't think I would have ever made it. So I thank you for that.
I met Steve
Oh,
in 1970. He was a freshman at Loyola, and I was a freshman at Loyola. And he used to eat in the Jack in the Box across the street from Loyola. And I had a group of friends. I was in ROTC. I didn't want to go to Vietnam. I joined ROTC. But there's this one guy sitting at the window. And then I found out that Linda knew my wife, Rita. And then we made a real close friendship. However, that was my first mistake. We played games. We played all kinds of games. We had a ledger of all the games that we ever played. And we had an initial it, and we did the whole thing, like it really counted. But there was one game that Steve was always good at. You could play Monopoly, you could play Parcheesi, you could do whatever. But pizza and beer was the game he was always best at. And you can see
check the ledger on that.
You can see the result. He won I give in his family all the best in their retirement.
Thank you.
My wife told me to write down a few remarks. So I thought about it a little bit, but if this were Jim, if this were you or Ron, I'd have come up with a bunch of stupid stories, dumb stuff you guys did over the years, and I couldn't think of anything. The 20 years I've known you, you did that was stupid or dumb right now. So I guess I have to be somewhat serious. The one thought, you think of people, and the one thought, and you may not remember this at all, but there was when Steve was a manager, and I just started within a couple of weeks, Steve said, I need you to be a witness. I have to tell this person they're not performing well. They're not doing well. And I have to tell them they're almost fired. I need you to be there with me to be a witness, because that's what the HR policy is. So I went in with you. And you did such a fantastic job. To this day, I've told this story, I don't know how many times. She thanked you for bringing it to her attention and finding a way to help her improve. But when you look at how to be a manager, that was the example for me. I can't tell you I always did that, but that's what I tried to do. I tried to follow your example when you met with that lady, because that impressed me more than anything else that you've ever done. And when your son talked about integrity, and he talked about, who you are as a person, that's who you are. And I've respected that over the years, and I've tried to be like that. And you've been a great friend. And I will pay you my highest compliment. I have never met anybody in my entire life who has led a more Christ life like than you have. And I really respect you for that.
Hi, my name is Efren.
I guess it's my turn. John and Dad, I just want to say thanks for everything. You guys all know my dad. He's just a genuine person. He's had to sacrifice a lot. Just to send us to Northbridge and Willows. He's just been the perfect example in all aspects of life. He's the example to raise my kids, be a good husband, and just want to say thanks, Dad. You're the best. Love you.